Did you see DSP's take on trans women in sports? No, I did not. Was it based? Do you think the liberals in this video are a psyop?
What would it take for you to move, not all the way over there, just one line, just one line?
I guess if they told me how many genders specifically there were, I can't think of anything that would change my opinion, I guess. If you got some friends.
Oh, you're giving me the finger? Hi. I'm standing in front of the social work building.
You're harming
I'm
individuals
harming individuals by asking that question.
Jesus. Oh no.
Well, you want to come down and have a conversation about it? Why do you want to come down and have a conversation? Oh. Okay, so what would it take for you to move to the strongly agree?
In this man's class, after a long, controversial 10 weeks of lectures in this giant auditorium on the final day, he posed a question to the students. He says, if anybody has disagreed with anything I've said over the last 10 weeks, come down and sit in this chair in a spotlight in the middle of the auditorium. Here's a platform. Tell me to my face. Which I'm glad. I was the only one who walked down and you gave me an A.
Excuse me. Hi, I'm so curious about what's happening out here.
Oh,
Okay, how do I find these people? I want to find the people that are really mad and want to argue in real life. Where do I find them? What do I have to set up at? Where do I need to go? Fuck. We need to find the white women.
critical thinking game where we take a look at claims and you step on a line you want to play?
Well,
You want to watch the game played?
well, we were watching from up there actually because we happened to see the sign from up in the School of Social Work, which is on the 6th floor, and some of our trans students saw the statement. There are only two genders.
Well, thanks for coming down to talk.
Also, by the way, guys, you can be pro-trans, pro-non-binary, everything, and still only believe in two genders, okay? You can totally do that. You don't need to subscribe to 50 million genders or neopronouns to have anything to do. This has nothing to do with trans people, okay? 52 trillion genders has nothing to do with trans people. But, okay.
It was pretty activating and upsetting not knowing the context. We thought it was sort of a statement that was being made, but not a thought exercise necessarily.
Would you like to see how the game is played?
No.
Is it something that should be a game, though?
An exercise? You want to use defund the police as one?
Well, just thinking about what it looks like.
Yeah.
What does it look like
To the
see
whole
like
community.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white men with a sign that says there's only 2 genders?
What does whiteness have to do with the gender shit? What does it have to do? It's like he's reaching. Why not just say like white straight guys? Why not reach white straight affluent guy? Why not just keep adding them on? Like,
You could have been like the Westboro Baptist Church for all.
What is white?
who cares? What even if the Westboro Baptist just wanted to set up, who cares?
Why did you identify us on the basis of our race?
Well, are you the best people to be hosting that dialogue about?
No, but you.
Be representative of that community.
Okay, but I asked you a question. Why did you identify me and these people on the basis of their
Back to
race?
What it looks like, right? Kind of like the activating, triggering aspect of it all.
So you think that it's morally acceptable to identify people on the basis of their race?
It's not a moral question. It's a matter of like the fact
It's
that
just
those
about power and
identities
privilege.
exist.
Yeah, and identity and representation, right? So if you had a bunch of queer folks out here asking those kinds of questions and there was
Well, how do you know we're not queer?
that's true, I don't know, but there's not sort of a representative, holistic, inclusive feeling, especially from up on high. We're looking down and we see this statement being made. We're curious about it. We're also just worried about the harm being done to passersby.
What is
See
the
that
harm?
statement.
So there are
What's
people
the
who
harm?
people who went home because it was so
Yeah,
triggering and
we have
activating.
some students.
So I
had
think
to leave.
They got
the end result is
triggered.
You know you're on film, right?
that is totally fine.
Okay.
There are real people who are really hurt by the statement. So I think
What were they hurt about?
question that because that's not how they identify, and so it seems like a really triggering statement to just say there are 2 genders if that's not been your experience.
That's triggering. It's not even a psyop. I can't even say it's a psyop. These are probably all real people.
So it's very harmful and very hurtful, and there's human lives that were affected. So I think that's the message we're trying to send is to maybe consider the questions that you're asking or posing before you.
Bro,
get
these
your
things are
thoughts.
unkillable.
Are you curious about like what we're bringing to you at all, or do you have?
I'm thinking about. I'm extremely curious, and I'm extremely respectful. I genuinely respect the fact that you came, as opposed to 7 or 8 of you giving me the middle finger and saying "fuck you" to me. So yeah. So if,
What do you gain from this? Like, what is your reason that you just want to cause trouble, or like why are you here?
so I'm fascinated. I do street epistemology, and I'm fascinated. If
Wait, who is this guy? Street epistemology? I've heard of this guy's videos before. I just haven't watched them.
people, epistemology is from the Greek, basically how you know what you think. Okay, so street epistemology is taking it out of the university and bringing it into the street. So I'm very curious. Okay, a sidewalk or a.
Is this a street? What are you saying, you fucking...
Campus.
20-year-old.
This isn't street epistemology. You're doing this on the
Okay, if you don't like the word street, you can call it plaza epistemology, whatever. But the idea is you take it out of the university and you see if the reasons that people have for things justify their confidence in it. So this is a confidence scale. We can do this with any claim you want. We can do this with a mayor of the city. We can do this with should the United States be funding Ukraine? I think it's $800 billion. Should the United States, is it more important to control inflation or employment? And we put people on a spectrum. They start on, let me just explain again. So you asked, so I'll tell you. So what am I gonna do?
I think what we're just saying is and I think those questions are thought-provoking and important questions to ask folks in our community. I think what we were struck by was the statement on the board that it wasn't a question and that there was no context clues for folks, especially trans folks, to know that this was not your belief, but this is more of a thought experiment.
Okay, would you be more comfortable if it was a question? Like if I put a question mark?
Sure.
Okay, I'm more than happy to put a question at the end.
A question is a question and not a statement.
More than happy to.
Some type of warning or a statement of like what you're doing on another board so people can walk by and like try and understand that, because from afar it looks.
This is a thought experiment.
Yeah.
This is.
Why are you so triggered? Why are you so soft?
What we're asking people.
I'm more than happy to do that.
And then that way it can kind of.
I'm more than happy to do that. I only have one board, but I'm more than happy to put on this is a thought experiment and put a question mark. If I put a question mark, I could. I don't know. I'm worried that people wouldn't be able to see it, but I'm more than happy to. If I put a question mark at the end and then I put another one, it's not really. It is a thought experiment, but it's more of an exercise / game starts thought experiment. If I put that on the end, would all of the
anger,
concern vaporize?
No.
No, probably not, because we're talking about real humans with their lived experience and their positionality, their identities.
So it doesn't even matter.
I might have a very different personal feeling walking by because it doesn't target my identity specifically. So we're just sort of here to sort of advocate and elevate who might be harmed by a statement like that.
What do you mean by harmed?
Harmed?
Yeah.
Well, people who have been like historically and currently oppressed, right, by dominant systems, patriarchy, whiteness, masculinity, all of the systems that harm people who don't fit within those.
I gotta go back to school. I'm gonna only stream 5 hours a day. I want to go to school. I want to go to college. I just want to be around these people. I need to be in the environment. It feels like infinite debates. I feel like you can argue with every single school administrator you walk by in a hallway. Like, these people this is the most soy shit I've ever heard in my entire life.
Sort of more.
Do they even talk about anything, or is it all just going to be?
You want a question and not a statement.
Can I also ask, like?
Now, I just want an answer. That's why you want a question, not a statement?
I think a question is an invitation, right?
More than happy to make it a question.
Participate in this conversation. It's
more than happy to do that.
You're representing, with your identity, a belief, perhaps especially when it's a statement. And so what it looks like is you're out here saying there are 2 genders, and then anyone who doesn't fall within those 2 sort of binary boxes.
I'm more than happy to do that.
That's where the harm comes from.
More than happy to say this is a thought experiment. No, let me just finish. More than happy to do that. But it seems that if I did that, that would not be enough.
You might have.
But then I might not be the person to, again, I think
asking folks who hold those identities, sort of if that is enough. So asking queer students, asking trans students, asking gay students, if you're asking about race or poverty or religion, or people who are part of those groups can really inform you better than I can.
You wanted to say, I wanted to hear her through.
No, I get it. And I'm just wondering, like, are any of you all like trained professionals in trauma-informed care? Like, if a transgender individual were to come to the space and participate, and then there was a triggering response where they needed emotional support, like, are you ready?
These are the... Bro, really? Really? Come on. No shot is this real. No shot are you this fucking weak. This can't be the case, right?
Ready to support that, because this conversation can bring up a lot of emotions, and the people that are kind of working within it could be really triggered. But if no one's there as like an advocate or support, it could be pretty detrimental to the community you're asking. So I just want to like frame that. If you're not having like an advocate there as someone that can like be an emotional support or regulation for the people that are potentially harmed or triggered in this conversation, whether they're participating or not, like that's a potential thing to think about and could be a flaw in the system, because you need to have someone to be able to support that emotionally, mentally, and for people's trauma. So if you're not, it's kind of like these people might leave and feel like without any support or any understanding of what they just went through. So
yeah,
just to think that.
And we know people who are in the gender minority experience higher rates of suicidal ideation, higher rates of anxiety and depression, and like they're seeing messages like this all throughout their lives. And so campus is supposed to be a safe space where everyone can exist freely.
By the way, that is not true. College campuses entirely are not supposed to be a safe space. She either doesn't know what a safe space is, or our college campuses are fucked.
Their own identities and who they are, and be learning and be talking about these really, really important things within our culture and society. And by walking through this community member that we care about that should be in class today, learning about how to take care of their community and how to support marginalized individuals like themselves and others, can't participate today because they saw that message.
Yeah.
And that's what we mean by harm. And honestly, I don't even think adding a question mark is enough. I think it should be more of what is...
Sorry, somebody said, what's a safe space? A safe space is supposed to be an area where you can exist without question in relation to the particular thing that you are complaining about. So like, there might be a safe space for domestic abuse victims. Now, in a challenging space for a domestic abuse victim, somebody might challenge you based on things you said. So like, my husband is a piece of shit. He abused me all the time. Fuck this guy, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, okay, well, like, hey, like... you know, why does he abuse you? What's going on, right? You might get challenged from some of those thoughts, which is fine. But a safe space is like an area where like I can vent or complain about some shit and I don't have to worry about anybody. It's just a space where I can chill and disconnect. I don't have to worry about like challenging experiences or whatever. I think there is some value in safe spaces. I don't think there's anything wrong with a safe space, especially depending on the type of community you're talking about. But college campuses, by definition, should be a pretty challenging space. It shouldn't be a safe space, all of college campus.
Is your perspective on gender identity? Because then you're opening up the question, or gender in general, right? Because we know that it's not just about identity, it's about who that person is. And by really framing it in the binary, that's where there's harm.
Can I put in like my 2 cents as a non-binary person? Cool. I am gender non-conforming. I use they, them pronouns. Do you know what that means?
I believe so, yes.
Are you aware of like the theory of social constructionism?
Yes.
So
I'm a gender studies scholar.
Yeah, so I'm much younger than you. These are all, you know, this is all very new, I understand. Like my parents are boomers, they're in their 60s. They've had a really hard time understanding. So I've had to explain this to a lot of people in your generation. So you're aware of social constructionism. You're aware of gender as a social...
Guys, listen. I am triple vaxxed, meaning I have had my 1 series plus 1 booster, okay? I believe the coronavirus is real. I take all my precautions. I don't think I've gotten infected yet, okay? I take it all very seriously. Guys, you don't have to wear masks outside, okay? It's a one-way ticket to Cringeville. You don't need to do this, okay? You don't need to wear masks outside. You're going to be okay, all right? You're going to be okay. You'll be fine. You can make it, all right? Don't do this.
construct when you say there are only 2 genders.
Why do you care? Because it makes you look like a fucking tool, okay? That's why.
Those two genders are just social constructs that we made up. From birth, you were assigned a male at birth because you have a penis, I'm assuming. You present as male. Do you identify as male?
Are you asking if I identify as male?
What's your gender?
I identify as male.
Because you were assigned a male at birth. Are you cis?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure where you're going with this. I'm trying to understand where you're going.
The idea of there being only two genders is a social construct because we have this idea of being assigned.
Okay, somebody said she's probably just on her way to another building and didn't bother to take it off. So I was about to call bullshit on you because I think you would always take your mask off. But it's probably different for women or non-binary people like this. Masks are really irritating to me, but I think having facial hair makes masks a million times more annoying. So if you don't have facial hair, it probably doesn't matter. But having masks and facial hair the same, it makes everything feel like moist and weird, and I fucking hate it. I hate it. But if you're just like a normal person, or not normal person, if you're a person with facial hair, you can probably wear them a lot more and it doesn't bother you. So actually, that could be the case.
Assigned female at birth, assigned male at birth. Now, I'm non-binary. That's something that I have learned about myself over the last 6-7 years. After I was a teenager, I learned about sociology. I learned about gender as a social construct. And I realized that I don't fit into the box of just a cis woman.
I like how she's like inadvertently making the argument for grooming. I don't know if she realizes it or not. How much do I want to step? Oh, actually, I don't care. I'll step into it fully. If you are truly like non-binary, or if you are truly a trans person, you're not going to learn that in a classroom. You're going to have feelings throughout your life. Maybe at some point you'll learn, oh, fuck, that's what it is. But you're not going to feel like pretty chill with your gender, blah, 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 until you're like 20 years old. And then you're like, oh my God, bro, I'm trans. Oh, no, fuck you. Okay. It's not how that works. Now, maybe she's shortening her journey, or maybe she did have those feelings and she's just doing a horrible job at explaining it. But like, she's giving the conservative argument right now for like why we shouldn't teach this shit in school, which is like, I thought it was normal, then I took a gender studies course, and then I realized I'm non-binary. Like, okay, dude.
Okay, my gender is completely whatever I feel like in the moment. I'm not just one solid thing. Sexuality, gender, these are all social constructs.
So this is like, I'll go even harder, sorry. I think this is like the trans trender that I get emailed about so much. It's women like this. Now online, it's always male to female. Like 99% of the trans people see online are male to female. But from what I get emailed a lot, it seems like on college campuses, overwhelmingly, it's AFABs, which is assigned female at birth, non-binary women that go by they, them, or neopronouns. Seems to be the case. I don't know if that is, I don't know if that's true. That's what I get emailed though. So, and that's who popped up in this video, but.
Created within our society, our binary society, where we've decided there's only male or female. So many people don't fit into that. And like, why do you feel like you're a man? Because you've been socialized to believe these things are associated with being a man. These things are associated with being a woman. There's only two boxes. But you don't have to conform to that. That's just what society has told you from birth. Someone said, a doctor said, this person.
Also, and again, now the last trans person I talked to disagrees with this. There might be a lot of trans people that disagree. You know, my opinions on this are changing over time, so maybe I won't adhere to this. But the gender roles aren't everything to do with trans people. That like you can't just gender roll away transness unless you weren't trans to begin with. My current opinion on that. Maybe that'll change, but we'll see.
Person has a penis, I'm going to assume that they have to be a man and fit into this box their whole life. But why? That's just.
I would love to hear other voices if you wanted to say something.
Engaging in this debate feels useful.
Do you feel that this is a debate?
That's your response? When you say, I want to hear from everyone else.
No, I do want to.
I didn't actually care who
No, I listened and I'm processing. Would you like me to engage her?
I want to hear from him.
You want to hear from him?
Actually, no, I want to hear from him.
Okay. Do you have anything to say?
I actually don't want to hear. No,
I just want to make sure. So this is what I want. I don't want the reason that I'm more than happy to engage you. The reason that I said that is you have how many people here? 15, I'm guessing. No, but let me finish. The reason I said that is because I don't want you to walk away and someone to say, you didn't give me a chance to talk. So I didn't give her a chance to talk before, but that's only because I was listening to what you were going to say. And I realized that the classes here aren't a lot of time. And the reason that I switched from what she had, and I'm more than happy to listen to her, is because I don't want people.
They just told you their pronouns and their lived experience.
Okay, then Okay, so instead of getting,
Experience of someone that doesn't conform to what I
okay, so this individual just told me that, and I'm trying to be reasonable, and I think it's better to have a conversation than for you guys to give me the finger and yell, fuck you. So you wanted to say something, go ahead.
It's already been you.
Aren't you
So
the
I
guy that
think
made up a bunch of
it's maybe
academic data and
important
submitted it to the journal?
to address
Pretty
that
sure
she
that's
did,
you.
like just address you just called this person a
Okay.
and they just told you their gender was
Okay, well, I apologize, and I say they.
This is the school I teach math at PSU. Oh, interesting.
That's the harm being done that we were talking about.
Do you accept my apology? Okay.
it's the generation, it's a generational, education. If you
Okay, so
and want
Go ahead.
to change and learn, that's great. I love that, and I accept your apology.
So isn't it better to have a conversation about this than to scream at someone from the rooftop?
Oh, I don't know who, I certainly didn't scream at you from the rooftop. Did any of you guys scream?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So you guys were screaming and yelling "fuck you" to me and giving me the finger.
We were just saying, please go away. You're not welcome.
No, I said fuck you.
Okay. Okay. So
Can I just?
In a conversation.
My goal is to disrupt this.
no.
I don't want any more harm to
So
Yeah.
okay. So I understand that you believe I can't remember where that over there she moved, but I understand that you believe this stuff. And we live in a democracy, and other people don't have those beliefs. And I want to ask people if the reasons they have for their beliefs are justified. And this is that experiment.
Your thought experiment, we actually have to go. We're not part of the thought experiment. We're all social workers, and we saw this harm being done, and we just wanted to come here with curiosity and also some information.
And do you feel that you've spoken? Do you feel that if anybody else has something to say that you haven't had an opportunity to speak?
Do you feel like you've learned anything or taken?
But that doesn't answer my question. I just asked if anybody else would like to speak. If you'd like to speak, I'm standing here. Okay.
But I think to Joel's point, we hope that this was informative and helpful, and sorry if saying fuck you hurt your feelings. And
No, it didn't hurt my feelings.
but I'm glad, because our student who was hurt, we're worried about them, and potentially many, many others. And so that's why we came down to talk to you, just because we have a personal connection.
Well, I'm glad. Isn't it better to have a conversation with someone than to?
Yes.
I mean, isn't that what the whole enterprise should be about?
It's not safe for everybody to have that conversation.
Sometimes it's hard to just have a simple
not safe.
conversation.
It's not
Yeah.
safe to just
Especially
have
when
a
you're doing it, like, every
conversation.
fucking
Really?
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is something we're fighting for and advocating for. This is our job and what we care about, what we're passionate about. So sometimes it's hard to keep all those emotions in when we see someone that we care about being harmed.
And do you think that the best way for people to understand, what is the best way for people to understand your point of view?
This right now, showing up.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, advocating.
Advocating for the people that may feel like they don't have a voice.
Okay, so the people who watch this, because this is being videoed, do you think that the people who watch this, who don't agree with you, as a result of having watched this, will then agree with you?
I'm not asking them to agree with me.
But don't you want to facilitate social change?
I'm asking you to have a different perspective to understand where we're coming from, because we came down here to try and understand where you're coming from.
Did you?
I don't think that anyone.
Did you really though?
To decide if this is.
Okay, but you have to please be honest with me. Is that really why you came down, to understand?
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah, we were very.
Okay, and what is your understanding of why I'm doing this?
Let's care about how you.
It's the impact.
What I'm sorry, what I haven't heard from you. What is it?
It's not.
I just want to tell you, we don't care about your thought experiment. We care about
The harm.
the impact that it's having on.
Okay, so you didn't come down to understand why I'm doing this then.
We came down here to tell you like what you're doing is harming others.
Right, so you didn't come down to understand. That's why I asked you to please be honest.
I really, truly do want to understand why this even
Just
exists.
because we didn't want to know how your game works doesn't mean we weren't coming down here to say.
So what is it that you understand for why I'm doing this? If you said you came down to understand why am I doing this? No, but this is, you've made a claim.
Are are they just social workers and not professors? I hope these aren't professors or teachers. This is a pretty standard question that you might ask a student after like a lecture or back and forth. Like, do you understand what the fuck we just talked about? Like, do you know can you summarize?
You've made a claim.
Yes.
Right. this is what?
Maybe you'll watch the video and
Harmful,
have
and you
some.
don't do
What do you think the result of people watching this video will going to be?
What's your intent? What is the impact it's having?
That's all we're
What
asking.
harm is being done?
Fuck, I need to get in